Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and today we're looking at Hydreigon. I am very just fascinated by this Pokemon and the way it has progressed through the meta in many different ways, and I can really have like a good story to show behind how Hydreigon works and what people do with it. So Hydreigon back in 5th generation, I felt like was getting a lot of play. I saw this guy every 3 or 4 battles, like once every 3 or 4 battles, if not a bit more commonly, just as the special sweeper of the team. Now, what makes Hydreigon so powerful is that huge modest nature, or that huge special attack with the modest nature. Almost 400, 383, and good speed to match it up. You generally want to throw a choice scarf on these guys, and then choose one move and just start really doing a lot of damage to your opponent. Dark Pulse hits hard, Dragon Pulse definitely hits hard, and then there's a lot of coverage moves behind it that really just add up into a very just high potential Pokemon that has very wide coverage and has a bit more strength right now than in previous generations, and I'll go over that later. So as for item choices, you can go with the Choice Scarf. I also enjoy Focus Sash. I have not seen as many Focus Sash this generation, and I really don't know why. I think it's a very strong competitive item that, you know what it's like that when you think you're about to secure a kill onto a Pokemon, they, like, you know, it's generally put on Glass Cannon kind of sweeper Pokemon that if this Pokemon doesn't go down in that one hit, they're going to turn around a KO, and they might let loose onto your team a bit more than just that one Pokemon. So with the Focus Sash, you know, that Pokemon gets hit, generally turns around a KO because the Pokemon that's breaking the Sash is also a very one-hittable Pokemon. And then, you know, now you don't have any way to handle their super fast, super damaging Pokemon. So that Focus Sash turns one Pokemon into, you know, a 1-for-1, if not a 1-for-1.5, gets some free damage, or even 1-for-2 and 3, depending on how many more Pokemon it knocks out afterwards. So Sash, very viable option. But back to Hydreigon. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can just go with the modest nature, try to stack as much damage as possible, use this Choice Scarf to become almost untouchable in speed, or you can go with the other way around, making it that timid nature. It's not the fastest Pokemon. Under 100 base speed, that's kind of the borderline. When you hit that 100 base speed with the timid nature, that's kind of where you're trying to set that goal. A Pokemon over 300 is fast. Getting under that 330 range puts you at risk of getting hit by a lot of really specific sweeper Pokemon. And then when you start breaking, I think 360 is really a good threshold that you're going to be going really fast. So that's why you use Scarf. You try to outspeed those speedy Pokemon that really don't have any defenses. This takes it to a different level. Again, you can kind of go with that Sash idea again, Choice Specs, or Life Orb. And don't take like this as a moveset over here, all these moves. These are just other options that you can run on Hydreigon, and don't even be limited by these. So as you can see here, we have Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Earth Power for ground coverage, very powerful, and Flamethrower for that Ferrothorn coverage. Again, powerful, good options right here. Now if we're looking at this Hydreigon set, Flash Cannon. A lot of people are bringing Flash Cannon for those fairy types. It's going to hit super effective, and you also get that added rock coverage as well. It's just a really nice thing to have, a steel type, and just kind of catch your opponent off guard. Charge Beam. If you're not using a choice item, Charge Beam is a very awesome option. If you have the chance to set up on a flying type or water type, or just, you know, get that free special attack boost, you can really turn that into something, especially since you're not going with the modest nature. U-turn, I've seen this on Hydreigon before. It's just nice if you're Choice Scarfed or Choice Spec'd, that you want, if you can't use a good move on them, you U-turn out of it. You get some free chip damage, maybe break a Sash, then go out into a new Pokemon. And Focus Blast. Focus Blast, mentioned it before, don't like it because of that accuracy, but having a fighting type move is always very valuable. Other options, Fire Blast, again, I don't like the accuracy on it. It's very strong, and it does cover a lot of things that Flamethrower might not like specifically take out. Pretty sure Flamethrower is just going to be a KO on the Ferrothorn as long as it isn't super special defense. Like, unless your opponent's Ferrothorn is going over 100 EVs into special defense, which not very many do. They generally try to be pure physical. You're going to be able to take it out with Flamethrower, and the Fire Blast is mostly for other Pokemon that are only 2 times effective. I think Fire Blast is just overkill, and that the situations where it works just aren't common enough to offset that 30% chance to miss. Other moves, Draco Meteor. I feel with Dragon Pulse, you get a lot of good coverage. Draco Meteor is kind of like that last huge monstrous hit to try to take out your opponent, or that lead hit. You know, if you're Choice Scarf, Choice Spect, you go into a Draco Meteor, that's going to have high one-hit KO potential. After that, you're going to have to force a switch on yourself, though. I don't like it either. I like trying to stay in and stay consistent. That's just me. Now, on to the interesting points of Hydreigon. Like I said, played very often. I used to see it very commonly, and I think it's a strong Pokemon. While my team was more my team back then in 5th generation, also in 4th generation as well, was built to handle those sweepy dragon-type Pokemon. So Hydreigon didn't give me too many problems that often. However, it is a Pokemon that should be feared. It does have huge special attack, huge speed. One thing that's confusing me though, with all of the Kalos native Pokemon and all the Kalos native formats, it's not seeing a lot of play. I think I've seen maybe 2 Hydreigons in competitive battle, and I think it's actually closer to even just 1 Hydreigon, and I really don't know why. It's a weird way how some Pokemon that are legitimately strong tend to fade in and out of being used. Salamence. If you look at some of the first regionals of the 6th generation, I'm talking about the, God, was it like the winter regionals, not the spring ones, but the first batch. People weren't really using Salamence that much. But now, over time, Special Attack Tyranitar and Salamence have been being more used in regionals, when in the first couple runs, in the first competitive battles, and even like battle spot battles back when the game first came out, people were kind of ignoring Salamence. And now Salamence is getting a heavy amount of play. I just feel that it's whenever someone decides to pick up and make something good, people start to follow the trend, and it really makes it a thing. I feel Hydreigon is probably going to be the next trend, because if you look at it, special attack-wise, stronger than Salamence. Speed-wise, not as fast as Salamence, but we're not talking about a Pokemon that can beat another Pokemon. We're talking about a Pokemon that's going to be used very well. Salamence is really strong because it does have that split. It can be a physical Pokemon, a strong physical Pokemon, or a strong special attack Pokemon, and it can kind of mesh between. Mostly, though, I've been seeing a lot of Scarf special attacking Salamence, not really packing too much physical threat, and even then, it's still doing very well. With Hydreigon, you have a huge amount of coverage, so you can kind of use it as a not a pseudo sweeper, but a side sweeper, that whatever your main sweeper can't cover, it can be there, and it can get either a huge burst of damage to help your main sweeper finish it off. Like this guy next to it, Garchomp is going to be very strong. The ability Levitate, Earthquake with Garchomp, and then in a move to cover it, boom. You're going to be scoring a lot of KOs like that. That's why Salamence is so good. Has the flying. It's a flying type. You know, you see that guy really next to Garchomp a lot, next to a Pokemon like an Earthquake, next to a Pokemon throwing out support. I feel Hydreigon can do the same thing. It also has a little better coverage, I say, with that Flash Cannon, the Dark typing really helping it out. And it also does have higher special attack if you're going into the Modest Nature. So if we go and pull up the other guy, I think that there's just a lot of things that you can work into your favor with Hydreigon. So that's kind of it. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, you know, once someone starts picking it up, using it with good success, it's going to be in the next in line that people are going to start playing Hydreigon more. It's Kalos native, and I think people aren't even realizing that as much either. That, you know, Salamence, a lot of people, you know, it's like, is that a Kalos native Pokemon? Yes, it is. Are we going to start using it more? Yeah, so I think that this just, Hydreigon and Salamence and even Special Attack Tyranitar just show a lot of the Pokemon that are sleeper Pokemon. That, you know, it just takes 1 or 2 people to really do well at an event, just start using it really everywhere, and then it snowballs effect. I stomp someone with let's just say I stomp someone with a Hydreigon. You're going to pick it up. You're going to go, hey, I'm going to try out Hydreigon. You do well with it. Then your opponent goes, wow, I didn't expect Hydreigon to be good. And it was the same with Salamence. It's been the same with many other Pokemon. This is how metagames change over time. That people phase out of one thing that's still very strong into a new thing because they get beaten by it. And then eventually that first Pokemon fades out and then will fade back in because it's still very strong. Pokemon that break the rule, Garchomp, Rotom, because they're always going to be consistent, and really people, they run them too much to want to counter them completely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really don't like doing sweeper kind of Pokemon, but in this case it works really well because it does show the flow of a metagame. It does show a potential sleeper Pokemon, a sleeper sweeper, Yeah, you see what I did there. But it also just shows, like, you know, progression in the metagame and a legitimately strong Pokemon that I'm wondering, like, hey, where'd Hydreigon go? Maybe you guys have been seeing him more than me, but I honestly haven't. Even with the, when I was doing the whole April friendly, not one Hydreigon. I saw a couple Salamence, a lot of Pokemon, but for a Kalos native Pokemon that I feel was strong and has gotten a lot of play, where did it go? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have, look, that's Skype. That's not looking. And I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a nice day.